After escaping Tuo, Senator Wang Lin decided to leave the Alliance star system and travel to a remote, unknown planet. He would not return until he had gained enough strength to face Tuo Sen. The abandoned planet was not truly deserted, as it contained many mortal cities and very few cultivators, making it peaceful. It was winter, and snow covered the land while the people celebrated a major festival whose origins had long been forgotten. Though its customs had been passed down through generations, every household was brightly lit, and the lights reflected against the falling snow, filling the night with a festive atmosphere. Amid the snow, a young man dressed entirely in white silently walked forward, leaving footprints that were quickly buried by the snow. His white hair blended almost completely with the snowflakes. The cold wind and snow seemed to resist his departure, but they could not stop him. The youth was Wang Lin, and his heart was filled with melancholy and the bitterness of leaving. After walking for an unknown amount of time, Wang Lin arrived at a snow-covered plain and confirmed that this was the place he had been seeking. He shook the snow from his hair, stepped forward, and caused a silent storm to sweep away the snow covering the ground. A huge, complex formation covering an area of 10,000 feet appeared beneath it. With numerous stones arranged throughout, Wang Lin entered the center of the formation, opened his storage space, and released more than 100 stones he had collected along the way. With a wave of his hand, he scattered the stones into their respective positions, causing the formation to gradually activate and repel the falling snow. Wang Lin then sat down and took an unconscious origin soul from his storage space. Using hand seals and repeated points, he transformed the origin soul until it stretched and twisted into a vortex in the sky. Miserable screams came from within the vortex as the formation fully activated. Its light did not rise into the sky but instead entered the vortex. Wang Lin formed a seal and calmly declared, "Use the soul as the guide." Blood-colored light immediately emerged from the vortex, and the formation's power was completely drained, causing the formation and all its stones to turn into ashes. The vortex stopped rotating and became a completely dark passage. Wang Lin stood and stepped into it. But before leaving, he looked back at the unfamiliar planet. Although it was unfamiliar, it was still within the Alliance star system and contained the aura of his home. Family, friends, and memories. Wang Lin bitterly acknowledged that he did not know when, or whether, he would ever return. He felt that having the snow and wind see him off was enough. Then entered the depths of the vortex. His laughter continued to echo across the plain before gradually being drowned out by the snow. The empty 10,000-foot area was slowly covered again. And just like Wang Lin's footprints, all traces of his departure disappeared. The four great celestial realms each governed a star system. The Rain celestial realm governed the Alliance, which possessed only one rank 9 cultivation country, while the Thunder celestial realm governed all heaven, where many families possessed ancient inheritances. Their different environments resulted in vastly different cultivation methods and directions. The Alliance emphasized strict rules, while all heaven offered greater freedom, though its cultivators could abandon that freedom for the honor of their families. In all heaven, honor stood above everything. The Cloud Sea star system under the Wind celestial realm was completely different. It was larger than all heaven and was the largest of the 4 star systems. Instead of appearing as ordinary dark space, it was filled almost everywhere with a thin layer of fog that hindered divine sense. Because this fog had existed for nearly an eternity, the region resembled a vast sea of clouds, giving the star system its name. Without a star map, even powerful cultivators could become lost and remain trapped within the fog forever. Spatial bending was also severely restricted there and had limited usefulness. No one knew the origin of the fog, which seemed to have existed even before the ancient celestial realm disappeared. Unlike the Alliance and all heaven, which were divided into east, south, west, and north, the Cloud Sea could not be divided according to directions because of the fog. Instead, it was divided according to the concentration of the fog into 9 ranks, forming 9 irregular reigns. The outermost region was rank 1, while the innermost was rank 9. The continent of Mo Luo was located within the 5th rank. From a distance, the continent seemed to fade in and out of existence. At its center stood a towering black tower emitting a soft light that enveloped the entire continent, preventing the surrounding fog from entering and keeping the area around the continent clear. Genuine cultivation planets did exist in the Cloud Sea star system, but they were extremely rare and were mostly concentrated in rank 7 or higher regions. With fewer than 100 in total, Regions below rank 7 were mainly occupied by floating continents, each representing a different sect. In the northern part of the continent of Mo Luo, heavy rain poured down over a jungle. The rain had fallen for an unknown period, turning the ground into mud and bending the leaves beneath its weight. Small beasts hid from the rain while several small, colorful snakes moved playfully through the mud and water, taking advantage of the rainy night to forage. The jungle was quiet except for the sound of rain, occasionally illuminated by flashes of lightning. Deep inside the jungle was a formation about 1.000 feet wide. The continuous rain had washed away the soil and made the formation increasingly clear. No cultivators remained nearby. The group that had guarded the formation had left 3 months earlier. But they had not destroyed it, seemingly because they still retained a trace of hope. During another flash of lightning, cracking sounds came from the formation, though the thunder completely concealed them. A blue light gradually emerged from the formation and spread across it. The rain seemed to become increasingly violent, as though sensing that a cultivator from outside the cloud sea, one destined to shock all 4 celestial realms, was about to appear. The rain grew heavier, and lightning flashed with increasing frequency. Far east of the jungle on the continent of Mo Luo stood a strange circular mountain range surrounding a giant basin filled with pavilions. Although the pavilions were brightly lit, an intense sadness permeated the basin, which even the rain and thunder could not dispel. 8 enormous pillars stood evenly around the mountains, extending into the sky and supporting a majestic Taoist temple about 100.000 feet above the ground. As heavy rain fell, a powerful bell rang from the temple, replacing the sound of thunder while making the sorrow below even more intense. Countless cultivators from the basin, including men, women, and children dressed in Taoist robes, came outside and silently looked toward the temple. They allowed the rain to soak them, and their tears mixed with the rain on their faces. Inside the Taoist temple, an elderly Taoist in a robe sat calmly with a pale face. 4 people knelt before him, 2 middle-aged disciples, 2 elderly disciples, and 1 beautiful woman among them. All were deeply sorrowful but remained respectful. The old man told them that his lifespan was about to end and that they should not grieve too much, since every cultivator would eventually face death. He entrusted the origin sect to the 4 of them after his departure. The woman wept even more as memories of her teacher filled her mind. The old man explained that he had failed to break through to the Nirvana Shatterer stage. Because of this, during his journey to the rank 8 spirit origin sect, someone from the main sect had drained away most of his vitality, leaving him in his current state. One of the middle-aged disciples questioned why the main sect had taken its anger out on their origin sect after the Purple Dao sect had secretly placed a formation on Mo Luo and gone to the Alliance star system, only to fail to return. The old man warned them not to question the main sect's reasons. Instead, he urged them to bring the origin sect out of last place in the main sect's competition 100 years later, allowing him to laugh proudly in the afterlife. The sect competition held every 1,000 years was a major event in the Cloud Sea. But the origin sect had always finished last and had never managed to rise. As the old man's death aura grew stronger, he looked at his withered right hand, which had become almost skeletal because its flesh and blood had been drained away. His disciples were overwhelmed with grief. He then opened a spatial crack leading to a storage space, from which a dark purple giant python emerged. Its head was dozens of feet large, and its appearance filled the temple with pressure. However, the python was exhausted and sorrowfully circled around the old man, touching him with its tongue. The old man explained that after his death, the rank 5 purple-eyed python would become the origin sect's sect beast, and he asked his disciples to treat it well. His face briefly became healthier and more energetic, but this was only his final burst of vitality. He then decided to use the last of his life force to perform the Great Beneficent Spirit spell and search for a spirit partner child who could help the origin sect in the future. He recalled that he himself had once been chosen in the same way while he was merely a village youth. The 4 disciples knew that every former origin sect leader who had not died outside the sect had used the last of their vitality to perform this spell. The mysterious spell searched the continent of Mo Luo for someone who would greatly benefit the origin sect in the future. Even the old man did not fully understand how it worked. The spell had been passed down for countless years but did not always succeed. Whenever an origin sect leader approached death, they performed it, yet throughout history it had succeeded only twice. All other attempts had failed because no suitable person existed on Mo Luo. The old man burned his final trace of vitality and origin energy, causing a blue flame to surround his body as he gradually disappeared before his disciples. His divine sense became extraordinarily empty, as if it had touched a special awe, and it spread across the entire continent in search of the spirit partner child. After searching repeatedly, he found nothing and realized that the great beneficence spirit spell had failed. As the blue flame consumed him, only his head remained, and he was about to disappear completely. At that moment, his divine sense detected a light in the rain in the northern region of Moluo. He paid attention because the jungle there contained the gateway to the Alliance star system. He saw the transfer light activate, and a white-haired youth slowly walked out. His white hair flowed in the dark night, and even the rain seemed to tremble around him. Most strangely, the thunder appeared to fear him and suddenly dispersed. The old man's mind shook violently, and seeing the youth gave him a terrifying realization. This person was not a cultivator from the Cloud Sea. The white-haired youth coldly looked toward the sky, and his gaze caused the thunder to stir and rapidly retreat. The old man was shocked by the youth's gaze, because he had used the great beneficence spirit spell. His divine sense had seemingly merged with a special awe, allowing him to clearly see countless resentful souls surrounding the white-haired youth. There were so many that they could not be counted. They stared fiercely at the youth but did not dare approach him. These were all the people Wang Lin had killed. An extreme sense of danger suddenly filled the old man's mind. He desperately tried to withdraw his divine sense because he needed to immediately warn his disciples to escape and report the news to the main sect. Inside the temple, the old man, whose existence was almost completely consumed by the blue flame, suddenly opened his eyes. His 4 disciples looked up at him. He managed to utter only 2 words, North region. His life then ended. His origin soul collapsed, and his divine sense vanished into the void, with every trace of his existence erased from the world. Filled with unwillingness, he struggled to leave behind 2 more words before disappearing completely. White hair. The 4 disciples stared ahead as their teacher died. The final words left them shocked, but they did not understand why their teacher had shown such terror. The bell of the origin sect continued to echo across the basin, accompanied by cries filled with sorrow, reluctance, confusion, and panic. The sect then issued an order for all its disciples to go to the northern region of Moluo and search for anyone qualified to cultivate, regardless of age, with particular attention to those possessing white hair. Meanwhile, in the northern region of Moluo, Wang Lin withdrew his gaze from the sky as rain fell onto his body. The rain melted the snow that still covered him from the Alliance and flowed slowly down his clothes. Wang Lin then moved forward into the unfamiliar land. The snow from the Alliance and the rain of the Cloud Sea became indistinguishable, and Wang Lin reflected that the snow had seen him off when he left, while the rain welcomed him when he arrived. He took a deep breath of the Cloud Sea's air and walked deeper into the jungle. As Wang Lin slowly walked through the jungle, he saw small snakes moving through the mud and fist-sized toads jumping in the muddy water, seemingly enjoying the rain. After entering the Cloud Sea, everything felt strange to him. He did not know where he was and began thinking about his situation. He had come here to avoid Tuo Senator, but given Tuo Sen's power, he could easily break the barrier between the 2 star systems, meaning Wang Lin would eventually have nowhere to hide. Therefore, instead of constantly escaping, Wang Lin decided to establish a foothold in the Cloud Sea as soon as possible. Once his original body passed the 3 trials 7 calamities, he would consider his future path. His most important task was to blend into the Cloud Sea under the identity of a Cloud Sea cultivator. Just as snow from the Alliance had merged into the rain, he also needed to merge into this place. As he moved forward, his body gradually became smaller, his hair turned black, and his appearance changed slightly until he looked like an ordinary, poor scholar. He then walked out of the rainy jungle. The rainy season on the continent of Moluo lasted for several months. Only after the earth became completely moist, people's bones began to ache, and everyone carried a faint smell of rust would the rain finally stop. Cultivators and mortals were accustomed to this. During the rainy season, cultivators either entered closed-door cultivation or left the continent to hunt fierce beasts. However, during this particular rainy season, almost all the members of the only sect on the continent of Moluo came out into the rain and headed toward the northern region. Rays of light filled the sky, appearing to form a path through the rain and resembling a meteor shower from the ground. Mortals, meanwhile, mostly stayed beside their fireplaces, enjoying the warmth of their homes and occasionally looking outside. Their lives were dull but warm. Northwater village was located in the northern part of the continent of Moluo, within 500 kilometers of the jungle. Most villagers survived through farming, while teams of hunters hunted fierce beasts in the nearby valleys. Every rainy season, the villagers organized groups of experienced people to enter the jungle and capture water toads. During the rainy months, they would make 4 or 5 trips, returning each time with large sacks filled with living water toads. Their families would wait for them in raincoats, and even the children would excitedly watch their fathers, brothers, uncles, and grandfathers bring back the bags of water toads. However, when the villagers returned from the jungle this time, they brought back not only water toads but also an ordinary, thin young man. He appeared unable to withstand the cold and was wearing a raincoat given to him by one of the villagers. He silently stood there with a strange expression, looking at the village with melancholy and reminiscence. A burly villager in a raincoat told him that this was Northwater village and invited him to stay until the rainy season ended, after which he could follow the mountain path to Spring City. Wang Lin smiled, clasped his hands, and thanked him. The burly man said that they had met on the road and were now friends, so there was no need for formalities. He asked his wife to prepare the back room for Wang Lin. The woman immediately returned home, cleaned the room, and brought over clean bedding without asking about Wang Lin's identity. Because the burly man had great prestige in the village, many neighbors came to his home that night, and they drank a great deal of wine. Wang Lin sat among them with a bowl of wine, calmly observing the mortals with a smile. After drinking, a man over 40 brought Wang Lin a bowl of wine and thanked him for saving his family's third brother from a snakebite. He then drank the entire bowl. Wang Lin smiled, picked up the wine jug, took a large gulp, wiped his mouth, and said that the wine was not strong enough. The surrounding men applauded, and the host laughed and ordered his wife to bring out 3 jugs of Northwater village wine. She soon brought them with the help of 2 younger villagers. A month slowly passed in this peaceful manner. The rainy season had not ended, but the rain had weakened, and there were even days when the sun briefly appeared. Wang Lin became very popular in the village. Everyone accepted the quiet neighbor who was exceptionally good at drinking. They also accepted him as a doctor after many elders and villagers with stubborn illnesses witnessed his medical skills. He was also recognized for his exquisite wood carvings, becoming a carpenter as well as a doctor. If this life could continue and he could forget Tuo Sen's crisis, the life and death struggles of cultivators, and the schemes of the world, it was the kind of life Wang Lin longed for. He enjoyed the peaceful existence and the villagers' happiness. However, he knew that this life was like the brief appearance of the sun during the rainy season and would soon disappear. The cultivators of the Origin sect arrived in the northern part of the continent of Moluo and began searching for mortals qualified to cultivate. They examined young people, middle-aged people, and even white-haired elders, although most of the elders were unqualified, and those who were qualified would generally accomplish little before death. One day, a cultivator arrived at Northwater village. He looked no more than 20 years old but was already at the foundation establishment stage, making him a leader among the younger generation. His cold expression immediately frightened the villagers. They came out of their houses and trembled in the rain. Everyone on the continent of Moluo knew about cultivators and understood that if one became angry, slaughtering the entire village would take only a moment. The cultivator, Zhao Yu, frowned as he looked at the villagers. The rain stopped 3 inches away from his body, leaving his clothes completely dry. The villagers, meanwhile, were soaked by the rain as the piercing cold entered their bodies. The adults could endure it, but the children trembled from the cold and clung to their parents. They had already stood there for nearly 15 minutes, yet Zhao Yu had said nothing. Finally, the burly man who had taken Wang Lin in explained that the rain was cold and the children were weak, so they could not endure much longer. His little daughter had already become pale from the cold. Before he could finish, Zhao Yu's cold gaze forced him to swallow his words. Zhao Yu coldly stated that if they could not even withstand the rain, they could not become cultivators. His cold snort contained a trace of cultivation power, causing the villagers' faces to turn pale. Wang Lin, who stood among the villagers, became gloomy. He walked out from the crowd and approached Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu was startled and was about to shout, but his eyes suddenly became confused. His gaze shifted between Wang Lin and the villagers before he calmly ordered everyone to return home. The villagers were startled but quickly gathered their children and rushed back inside. They did not notice that as they dispersed, Wang Lin waved his right hand, sending an invisible wave of warmth into their bodies and dispelling the cold. That rainy night, Wang Lin walked ahead while Zhao Yu followed behind him. Zhao Yu was no longer confused, but he appeared as if he had lost his soul. The Origin sect's activities continued for nearly a month, during which they gathered 31 mortals from the northern part of the continent of Mo Luo. 17 were teenagers and the rest were youths. All 31 were sent to the Origin sect and settled in the giant basin. The 4 great elders of the Origin sect placed great importance on these 31 people and divided them among themselves. Among the 7 people selected by the only female elder, Lu Yenfe, was a youth named Seng Niu from Northwater village. At the southern courtyard of the Origin sect, a red pavilion stood within a forest that remained red throughout the year. Lu Yenfe, the peak Nirvana scryer and the Origin sect's #1 beauty, lived there. She was famous throughout the rank 5 domain, and although many powerful cultivators desired her, they had previously been deterred by her teacher's peak Nirvana cleanser cultivation. Now that her teacher had died and the Origin sect was at its weakest, she was under increasing pressure. Lu Yenfe sat in the pavilion wearing a red dress, her face still pale with sorrow. She tightly squeezed a purple jade in her hand, her eyes filled with humiliation. She had just received 4 ordinary-looking young men. She ordered her eldest and 3rd disciples to take 2 each and said that they would only remain for 1 month. If they were not recognized by the purple-eyed teacher's inheritance, they would be sent home. When Xu Yun mentioned 3 other men who were somewhat older, Lu Yenfe refused to meet them and ordered Xu Yun to take them under her own care. After Xu Yun left, killing intent replaced the humiliation in Lu Yenfei's eyes. She declared that even if she died, she would never become Rudy's cultivation partner. Outside the red pavilion were 3 young men, including Wang Lin, who was disguised as Seng Niu. One wore simple clothing, while another wore blue and had a somewhat sinister and elegant appearance. Xu Yun took the 3 of them down the mountain using clouds. The speed frightened the 2 ordinary youths, and the youth in blue immediately began vomiting, while Wang Lin remained completely calm. They arrived at a courtyard filled with numerous plants and herbs. Xu Yun noticed Wang Lin's calmness and asked whether he recognized the plants. Wang Lin said that he recognized some of them and that he was a doctor. Because of this, Xu Yun decided that he could stay in the courtyard and take care of the herbs. She summoned 2 young cultivators to arrange accommodations for the 3 newcomers and provide them with the cultivation chants for the first 3 layers. Xu Yun then brought Wang Lin into the courtyard and assigned him a small wooden house. Wang Lin immediately noticed that many of the herbs there had already become extinct in both the Alliance and All Heaven. Xu Yun continued observing him because he was unusually calm. Although she suspected that he might be a cultivator, she could not detect even the slightest trace of spiritual energy from him. After explaining how to care for the herbs and giving Wang Lin the cultivation chants, Xu Yun entered the central house to cultivate. She was desperately trying to reach the corporeal yang stage so that she could help her teacher. She knew that Lu Yenfei's beauty had attracted the attention of many powerful cultivators. And with the ancestor's death, those people were becoming bolder. Xu Yun was also bitter because her 3 uncle teachers had refused to help. She resolved that if she could not reach the corporeal yang stage, she would have to take the terrifying soul-parting death pill, because she had recently made some progress in her domain and was already close to the corporeal yang stage. She closed her eyes and began cultivating. After Xu Yun left, Wang Lin calmly observed the herbs before entering his own wooden house. The room was small, containing only a bed, a wooden table, and an oil lamp. He lay on the bed and looked at the wooden roof, feeling an unusual sense of peace. Both the Northwater village and his current location had given him rare moments of tranquility. At his cultivation level, besides cultivation itself, understanding the Tao and laws was most important. In this peaceful environment, Wang Lin gradually grasped some ideas and thought about the relationship between truth and falsehood, wondering whether he himself was currently between the two. When night fell and the room became completely dark, Wang Lin opened his eyes without lighting the lamp. He formed seals and pointed at several parts of his body. After expelling a breath of foul air, his body split into 2, separating his avatar from his original body. His original body sat in the wooden house, with everything below its waist reduced to bones. The bones were dark, with faint red lines running across them, making his condition extremely severe. His original body was in an even worse state than when he had been at the Vermilion Bird Divine sect, with his injuries appearing to have become more serious. Wang Lin had actually fused with his original body when he left the Vermilion Bird Divine sect to save the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor in the Rain Celestial Realm. However, because of the original body's condition, there had been very little ancient god power available for him to use even after the fusion. Wang Lin recalled that ancient gods faced the 3 trials and 7 calamities. According to 2 Sis memories, an ancient god normally encountered the first 2 calamities of the first trial only after reaching 6 stars. He had not expected the first trial to arrive prematurely. The first trial consisted of the flesh calamity and the bone calamity, both of which were extremely powerful. Wang Lin opened his storage space and released fist-sized blood crystals. Blood light radiated from them, but all of it remained contained within the room without leaking outside. He directed the crystals toward his original body, and they landed upon and gradually covered the skeletal lower half. His original body opened its eyes and sank into the ground, disappearing from the room. It continued sinking until it reached the depths of the continent of Mo Luo, where it closed its eyes and began absorbing the aura from the blood crystals. Because the 3 trials and 7 calamities had arrived early, Wang Lin had searched through 2 Sis memories and gained an understanding of the situation. He believed that his ancient god body was incomplete compared with that of a true ancient god. Without the heart blood of an ancient god, it would be extremely difficult for his original body to pass the first trial. However, this remained only his speculation, and he could not be certain whether his original body would survive the flesh calamity. As Wang Lin continued pondering, time passed, morning arrived, sunlight entered the wooden room, and the sound of pouring rain reached his ears. During the rainy season on the continent of Mo Luo, the morning air was damp and cold. Wang Lin opened the window and felt the rain splash onto his face. The rain nourished the herbs in the courtyard, and waves of spiritual energy spread from it. Holding an umbrella, Wang Lin left the room and slowly walked through the mud, listening to the sound of rain while sensing the origin energy of the world. He felt peaceful and happy. Xu Yun was still cultivating and attempting to break through from the illusory yin stage to the corporeal yang stage, unaware that Wang Lin had left. After arriving at the origin sect, Wang Lin no longer concealed his cultivation level because, given his current status, he saw no need to do so. Nevertheless, without using spells, no one could detect that he was a cultivator because his cultivation could not be seen through. A Nirvana cleanser cultivator could integrate origin energy with the world and absorb it directly. And as long as the origin energy within his body remained still, no fluctuations would appear. Moreover, Wang Lin possessed a sliver of source origin, had already seen the 3rd step, and had experienced the power of a 3rd step cultivator with Celestial Emperor Qing Lin's help. Therefore, no one on the continent could see through his cultivation. Wang Lin walked from the southern courtyard toward the mountaintop without using any spells. At the peak, strong mountain winds blew through the rain. Dark clouds covered the sky, with lightning flashing inside them and muffled thunder rolling in the distance. Wang Lin breathed in the wet air, looked into the distance, and calmly sensed the world's origin energy. He enjoyed being in this unfamiliar world where no one knew him. Quietly savoring the rain, until a cold voice suddenly came from behind him asking who he was. Wang Lin turned and saw a woman in a red dress. Her black hair fell behind her, contrasting with her slightly pale and beautiful face. Although she was delicate and beautiful, the rainy and thunderous surroundings made her appear lonely and helpless, and Wang Lin could clearly see a trace of humiliation in her expression. He calmly introduced himself as Seng Niu. The woman in red was Lu Yenfe. The name Seng Niu reminded her of one of the 31 mortals brought back from the north. She initially found his unusual calmness strange. Since she was a powerful cultivator, she told him to leave, unwilling to attack a mortal. Wang Lin smiled and walked past her. His complete lack of nervousness surprised Lu Yenfe because everyone in the origin sect, except her teacher, normally treated her with extreme respect. Even her 3 senior apprentice brothers showed deference because of her higher cultivation. Lu Yenfe carefully examined Wang Lin and confirmed that he was truly only a mortal. She then asked him to wait and wondered whether he was willing to listen to her. Because of her high status in the origin sect, there were matters she could not conveniently discuss with others. Wang Lin's calmness also unconsciously helped her settle her own emotions. She simply wanted someone to listen to her. On that rainy morning at the mountaintop, Only the two of them were there. Wang Lin stopped and agreed. Lu Yenfe began recounting her past. When she was 13, her teacher accepted her as a disciple and she entered the path of cultivation. When she attempted to break through to the ascendant stage, her teacher spent a large amount of the sect's herbs and even traded with other sects to obtain more ingredients so that he could refine a heaven-deceiving pill for her, allowing her to reach the ascendant stage. She still remembered how, in that year, her teacher took her into the stars to hunt. After 3 years, he helped her capture a 6-eyed red fox, which became her life beast spirit. Lu Yenfe then bitterly said that her teacher had died and that she would never see him again. She continued speaking while Wang Lin silently listened. Time passed until noon. The rain gradually weakened and finally stopped. The dark clouds disappeared, the sky cleared, and a bright rainbow appeared across the horizon. Lu Yenfe explained that the Purple Dao sect had caused her teacher's death. Afterward, the Purple Dao sect's junior master sent her a jade asking her to become his cultivation couple. If she refused, they would report the matter to their main sect and request war against the Origin sect. Taking advantage of her teacher's death, the main sect had never favored the Origin sect, and if the Purple Dao sect truly made such a request, there was an 80% chance the main sect would agree. Lu Yenfe bitterly said that what was even more ridiculous was that her 3 senior apprentice brothers did not dare to step forward. They considered the matter already decided and wanted her to sacrifice herself in order to preserve peace for the Origin sect. However, she questioned whether the Origin sect would truly be safe after she became Lu Hai's cultivation partner. 2 streams of tears fell from her eyes and mixed with the rain on the ground. Looking at the rainbow, she said that although a rainbow appeared after the wind and rain, the Origin sect's rainbow was bleak. After Lu Yenfe finished speaking, Wang Lin remained calm and walked down the mountain. This time, she did not stop him and continued silently looking at the horizon. After a long time, her expression became determined and killing intent appeared in her eyes. Looking in the direction Wang Lin had gone, she thought that his state of mind was comparable to those of cultivators of her generation. If he embarked on the path of cultivation, he would certainly achieve great things in the future. But she regretted that he was only a mortal. Wang Lin returned to the courtyard with his umbrella. Xu Yun was still cultivating. After returning to his room, Wang Lin began reflecting on what he had heard. From Zhao Yu's memories, he had already known that the Cloud Sea Star system was very different from the Alliance and All Heaven. After listening to an elder of the Origin sect, he realized that most cultivators here seemed to cultivate through spirit beasts. While their alchemy was also highly distinctive, the Cloud Sea was filled with fog, and within that fog existed a world belonging to spirit beasts. What especially caught Wang Lin's attention was the heaven-deceiving pill, which could help a cultivator reach the ascendant stage. He remembered that without Zhou Yi's ascendant crystal, he would have been burned to death by the Origin flame. The Cloud Sea Star system therefore possessed a pill capable of helping cultivators pass through the first life and death trial of cultivation, showing that its alchemy had reached an extremely advanced level. Wang Lin speculated that there might even be pills capable of helping second-step cultivators. He wondered why the Cloud Sea Star system had developed alchemy to such a degree when cultivators were normally supposed to focus on comprehending the Tao and regarded relying on pills as an unorthodox method. Then another possibility occurred to him. Perhaps there were pills capable of helping cultivators comprehend domains. This thought caused his heart to skip a beat. At that moment, Wang Lin's expression changed. His gaze seemed to penetrate the room and fall upon Xu Yun. She had opened her eyes and coughed up blood. Her face was pale because she had once again failed to break through to the corporeal yang stage. The failure had injured her origin soul. Xu Yun bit her lower lip and revealed a determined expression before taking a pill from her storage bag. She crushed it without hesitation, revealing a black pill. The pill immediately released dense origin energy and contained a faint trace of soul force. It was the soul-parting death pill. Xu Yun clenched her teeth and was about to swallow it when Wang Lin's calm voice suddenly sounded. "Stop."